I myself am just fascinated how energy works and how there can be residue from other timelines, and we have access to that. So, one of the coolest things I've ever experienced was taking a job as a baker in this rad cafe that was right down the street from my house. I could walk. And it was in a very intense area where there was a lot of history, a lot of tradition. So, one thing I didn't realize was that my hours were going to be, you know, pretty freaking early. I would go in sometimes at like 4 a.m. And if you know anything about like the ambrosia hours, that's like a peak time to be waking up and walking through the forest into a haunted cafe. And I was doing this like 3 times a week. So lo and behold, you know something's going to occur at one point or another, especially you have like a walking empath, like totally open to the experience, calling it in, totally curious. So of course, I got the show. And man, Opie, you were there. Like he's the grounding force, because crazy things would happen. I'd just like go to my, I'd just be like, oh my God, reality check. He was always there for me. We would walk, like I said, 4 a.m. to bake some muffins and some scones and some cookies. And I was like a full-on baker. So I'm in there mixing stuff. I'm in the kitchen. It's like a really cool old kitchen. And, things are cool. I'm heating up the ovens, like mixing things, just like thinking about the day. I just sensed that there was a lot of activity. So I kind of just started to pray, because in those instances, I want to get really clear with what I'm calling in. So I just started to pray. And I remember I would play music, like I'd play mantras in the background to like appease these souls. I knew I was being haunted. The spoons were moving. There was commotion in the dining room. And the biggest thing that happened physically was the entire light fixture that the restaurant cafe had that was nailed to the ceiling, that entire thing crashed down. It was so much activity. And I just had to go through this phase of, being initiated, not being afraid, sitting with myself, making some cookies, and just knowing that there was like spirits like messing with me, and I just had to hold my own. That's when I knew everything was just really all happening here and now, and that we really can open up other portals. And so, without getting too out there, because this story gets really kind of out there, because I'm just kind of an out there kind of girl, I want to like tell you guys how deep this experience was without freaking you out, but this was a portal that opened for me in a way that I was able to see other realities. I was able to see other generations that had lived in the same place. And I'm talking pioneers, natives, especially, the Apache tribe was very present. And that's ancestral for me. A cellular memory that could open up within me. It's just a very sweet time for me to really deepen my abilities and to just get comfortable with like how deep the rabbit hole can go. You get to the point where it's just a part of life, and it's something that I believe is a service. It's meant to be as a service, not to be abused in any way, not to encroach on the spirit realms or like the dead, not to seek that out. I think that's important. I learned, we all learn the hard way. But I learned to just really don't seek that out. Like spirit will present that to you. Sometimes these souls are just confused and lost, and they're not always in like a bad, dark space. A lot of people think that ghosts are scary and bad, but most of the time, I'm telling you, that energy I get is confusion. Mostly feeling lost. And so, yeah, just being able to be that person with the signpost on their journey, just like a living person, and just say, yeah, unconditional love, forgiveness, and go to the light. And just know that you are the truth and the love, and just speak peaceful words into their journey, and it seems to like put them back on a better path, and they don't mess with you. You know what I mean? And so that's just been like a learning curve for me over time. I'm a missionary, and this is a big part of my mission. I do really, really work with the land. I work with being in service, and a big part of it is using my psych and using my divination abilities to connect with other realms and the spirit realms. So I've found myself in some very historical places, very haunted areas. I have a purpose, and it involves, working with the spirits. So for anyone who also has these abilities, because I do feel like this is just kind of normal. It's normal when you train your psyche. It's normal when you're open to it. But if you have belief systems that are like, no, that doesn't exist, then it will be closed off to you. And it's probably for the best, because, yeah, that free will thing kind of kicks in. But if you do have these abilities and you do have that openness to it, I think that's really cool. And to just don't feel afraid in that. Like, you're not alone, you're not a freak. You just are more keen, more open, and just, yeah, it's good to kind of learn to kind of wield your sword, kind of like wield your abilities, learn how to use them for your greatest good. That's another thing I kind of want to end this with, is just, yeah, you can turn the knob up and down on what you want. You don't have to be at the mercy of like bad spirits, dark spirits, like that stuff. No. If you're being haunted in a bad way, just know that you're in power. Just like set your boundaries. And you can actually just say it out loud. If you feel something is hoovering you or lurking on you, just tell it straight up. Leave any and all negative entities attempting to manipulate me or control me. Leave me now. Just speak out the truth. And the universe has no choice but to kind of shift at that point. And yeah, so you call it out, you call the shots. And know that you're safe. So I hope you all are having a good time, and thanks for watching. Until my next podcast, you take care. Peace.